Hey, this is Danny from Weird and Wired, and this right here is the Weird and Wired Scrabble Board Guitar. Now, this is an idea that I've had for a little while now, probably coming close to a year, and it's only recently, when I was clearing out the bottom half of the workbench behind me, I came across a few integral parts which kind of really finished this build, setting it home. So the guitar element of this came from a Gear for Music Metal X, which I got as payment for doing a bit of guitar maintenance for a friend. It's a real sort of BC Rich inspired body shape, which I didn't really have any plans for a long time, but I figured I'd just like having parts hanging around to tinkle with, because you never know when they're going to come in handy. And just with the shape of it, I've got nothing against pointy guitars. I love them. I love any shaped guitars, as you might be able to tell. But there was nothing really going for it. So I cut it down so it would fit within the frame of this shape for this build, and we've also got, as you might notice, a built-in amp, and this came straight out of a kid's guitar that I previously used the neck for on the Micro Machines guitar build, and that was just, I totally forgot I had this sitting around, which is why it's good to sort of go through the workspace once in a while and just see. I mean, it becomes a bit of a dumping ground for parts I've acquired over time, but I love the way this has come about, just quite organically. Is the best way for me personally when it comes to doing any sort of builds like this, rather than kind of really forcing the idea. So it started off just, I love Bo Diddley guitars. The main one that comes to mind for me is the classic Gretsch signature, the big rectangular one, and this being not far off, I just thought a Scrabble board would make an interesting body for a guitar. And you might be thinking, well, you've got a Scrabble board on the front, but what do you got on the back? And you might be surprised to learn that it's another Scrabble board, because why not double down on this idea? And so originally I tried with the neck being sort of placed in the middle of the big square body, and it just felt a little too uncomfortable, so I figured that it's gonna have to be either at the top or at the bottom, or I did ponder making this a double neck, but it felt that it wouldn't really be offering much beyond just a kind of wacky body, which I got nothing against, but I kind of wanted to try something different with this, something I hadn't done before. So when I came across the little built-in amp, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna go for that, because there is another Bo Diddley guitar which I think about a lot, and it's one that's maybe not as well known as his signature Gretches. This is one that he made himself in his garage, I believe, and it's just this big hunk of wood. It's got a CD player mounted into it, and he just made it so he could just jam along to his favourite CDs, which I think is such a beautiful idea, really getting to the essence of just having fun with music. So I thought I would make this so you could just turn on the amp and, jam along with yourself, stand out on the street and busk and entertain people as they're going by. Or you can also plug this straight into an amp. It's got the option, you don't have to just use the built-in amp, you can plug this into anything you like, and it's real easy access as well. On the back, the amp is powered by a 9-volt battery. You've got a little battery holder here, so you've not got to completely disassemble this to just to change the battery or take it out if you don't want it in there. And yeah, the controls, I've tried to make them as straightforward as I possibly can. Instead of sort of like a tone volume or double volume, I decided to sort of lean into the Scrabble board sort of letter tile theme, and I've got a G for guitar, which is the volume just for this P90 humbucker that we've got, and the switch here, if you have that facing down, that is the guitar engaged going through your amp of choice, and if you flick it up, that would work as a kill switch. And then if you turn on the switch below that as well, so you have both switches facing up, that it then activates the built-in amp, and again you could then use this top toggle switch as a kill switch. So, and obviously A for amp as well. It's maybe a little bit overboard, I gotta say as well. A third guitar that inspired me was sort of the original Gear for Music Metal X, obviously being very heavily inspired by BC Rich. I love some of the guitar builds they do where you've got a lot of switches to play with. So it's kind of an amalgamation of two Bo Diddleys and the real BC Rich vibe. So that is what this is comprised of. Also, the sort of like the border along the edge is the Scrabble box as well, because I really like being able to sort of reuse as much parts as possible. And it just seemed natural. It just, again, was a very organic idea, sort of had everything else put in place. Same with the headstock as well, putting the Scrabble up there, just seemed to fit perfectly. The nut is the original nut for the neck. The body of the Metal X has a Floyd Rose, and I did try just putting an ordinary nut that you'd find sort of like Les Paul style, and there's just something about it, just being the original nut, it just works. So, you know, I figured I'd just stick with that, because that is not the weirdest thing about this guitar. So that is what we got going on here. This is how it's looking, and this is how it's sounding. So there you have it, the Weird and Wired Scrabble Board Guitar. As I say, it took me nearly a year to kind of really get this idea thought out, kind of get it on the road and get it complete, but I am really happy with how this has turned out. It's for me, it's the right level of wackiness, and I'm happy I was able to sort of do something I haven't done before. As I say, using the built-in amp is something I've not tried myself, and yeah, it's it just lends itself to an absolutely wacky guitar, I think, making up the most of this space. But what do you guys think? Do you think I should have gone with a double neck theme on this? Is there any tricks I've missed, any puns that I've missed? I do like asking people what's the first song they would play on this. Word Up is my my most recent favourite one, but you let me know all your thoughts and feelings, and until next time, keep it weird and keep it wired.
Weird and wired.